Zizek expressed some socially reactionary tendencies in more recent interviews. Not sure what to make of it. He's a wacky guy. Speaking of Zizek, his trans takes are a bit wacky. What are his trans takes? You have the caterpillar and you have the butterfly. And the butterfly is beautiful, but it's also a pest. Me too, Zizek. Zizek said he's a fan of incest movies. Of course he did. All right. I feel like this. I feel like doing this.
In crazy, we live in crazy times, which make Marx actual, but for this very reason, we should criticize Marx. What do I mean by this? The problem with Marx is that precisely where he was right to such an extent that he couldn't even imagine how right he is. And that's why he... No, I will give you a simple example. You know the famous lines from Communist Manifesto that with capitalism, everything solid melt into thin air, all stable forms are dissolved and so on, all stable hierarchies and so on. But would Marx have even imagined where we are today? For Marx, sexual gender coordinates were still stable. That even that is today experienced as something fluid and so on. Or even nature itself. For Marx, nature was still, in the typical modern European way, with all its storms, wild things, and so on, the stable background of our being. We humans are Promethean, we change things, and so on. But somehow Marx still counted that nature is this vast reservoir of forces and so on, is somehow strong enough to incorporate or to neutralize the destructive effects of our activity. Now,
is this guy a comedian? Yes.
We all know, living in the era called Anthropocene and so on, you see, Marx was much more right. He should have also added in Communist Manifesto not only social forms, but even what we perceive as natural forms. Life on Earth, our gender, sexual identities are much more fluid, unnatural, and so on and so on. So this, I think, compels us to think more radically, to question many presuppositions. Another nasty thing, I want to provoke you politically. Marx mentions in Communist Manifesto also their all old patriarchal relations are, with developed capitalism, are undermined, rendered fluid, and so on and so on. And that's why I think, with all my respect for transgender movement and so on, that's why I am not sure.
My dude taking an enunciation class. You people are something. Do you not know who Zizek is? Do you know why he does this? It's a tick because he gets anxiety with public speaking. He gets so anxious public speaking that he's doing this constant clown gibberish shit, and he still speaks publicly all the time because he has so much to say. You all could learn a couple of lessons from him, frankly. You all can't order a pizza, and my man over here is tap dancing on his face with his arms while he talks. And he still publicly speaks for a living.
Surprised that transgender movement is so immensely popular among great corporate figures of the United States. You remember when month before Trump was elected, I mean, this is, I think, one of the reasons why he won. The main topic of big left liberal media, like New York Times and so on, what to do with transgender toilets. Is it 2, 3, is it single toilet, and so on and so on. And what made me a little bit suspicious is that all of them, Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, name them, all of them fanatically, even the worst capitalist, like who is now, I forgot, after Steve Jobs, the boss of Apple, Tim Cook or who, they all fully supported it. I mean, we should accept it, yes, of course, but that's another topic.
Yeah, I fully disagree with this framing. It wasn't the liberal media's obsession with talking about trans toilets or whatever. That culture war talking point got brought up by the right. Like, you can't seed talking points like that. The right threw that forward. The right made that a focus of interest. The main, if anything, I think you can go back and in retrospect, a lot of those earlier pieces defending like trans inclusion in bathrooms were really naive in the long run, because like they were not written with an understanding of the genocidal rhetoric that would very quickly become a component of conservative messaging, you know? So they treated it like a dalliance, you know, like an interesting point to be debated. And I don't think this has anything to do with Jeff Bezos or whatever, you know? People like Jeff Bezos, people who run like media conglomerates, uh, you know, they chase the discourse, they chase the story. There's no reason for them not to, from a monetary perspective. I don't think that has anything to do with their specific interest in the subject of like transgenderism or whatever. Hey, Keffels.
Transgender, Me Too. But they are not, I claim, inherently revolutionary. They fit perfectly the dynamic of late capitalist subjectivity.
This I actually do agree with. I don't think there's anything innately revolutionary about the existence of trans people. That I my for me, the revolutionary position is gender abolitionism, which I think is furthered by trans acceptance, but they're not concurrent, and there are in fact many trans people who would fully reject gender abolitionism.
This infinite plasticity and so on and so on. That's why I also have a problem, although personally we are in good relations, with my big philosophical nemesis, Judith Butler. I agree with her. She gives the correct description of what is happening today. You know, we no longer have, or less and less, this binary logic, predetermined sexual roles. We rediscover, recreate, repeat, reconstruct, invent our identities. My only problem is, what's so revolutionary about it? My reproach to her is that in some sense, she is simply describing modern late capitalist, typical modern late capitalist subjectivity. We live in a unique era where today, if we can construct this in a naive way, I simplify it. Today, ideology, and I don't mean a personalized ideology, but in the most elementary sense, when you're growing up and all the time later, what society is telling you to be, in a very naive way. What does it expect?
Isn't Judith Butler a TERF? No. Am I thinking of someone else? Definitely.
From you. My God, it's no longer obey your father, sacrifice yourself. It's what I ironically like to call spiritualized hedonism or enlightened Western Buddhism. Basically, the message is there are no higher causes worth sacrificing for. Enjoy life, but not in a stupid sense. Look into yourself, recreate yourself, explore your potentials, and so on and so on. Sometimes this also has.
I think what he's fundamentally, I think what he's fundamentally arguing, and I think there's some truth to this, though I don't think it's a fair, like, holistic characterization. It is a common refrain under capitalism to treat self-discovery, self-exploration, self-expression as this infinitely modular system that one should focus on, that personal and individual sort of creation is the metric by which we should measure our lives, like the focus of our interests. Meanwhile, like, the mechanisms of capital continue to churn on in the background. Yeah, it goes beyond commodifying identity, Matsujo. I think it's like it's sort of like a component of a broader, not narcissistic necessarily, but like very insular self-obsession that is promoted under capitalism, because it discourages us from looking at like broader systems, if that makes any sense. And I do think there's some truth to this to an extent. Obviously, trans people are far more likely to be socialist than non-trans people, but it's more the idea of like the more it's sort of the more like, how do I put this? The more of your life is determined by the extent to which you construct and shape and personalize the minutia of your character and your self-expression, like the less you turn your eyes outwards. Does that make any sense? It's sort of like it's kind of like it goes beyond individualism. It's like a socially performative component of commodified personal identity, but it goes beyond commodification. Again, I don't think this is like the entire story, but I understand like an element of this. Obviously, I'm going to be charitable to Zizek here because the man's not a raging transphobe. You know, he's a very cool dude.
Very comic effects. For example, recently, not so recently, years ago, I was in Argentina, and I was told there a wonderful story from a historian of psychoanalysis, how things changed, because as Foucault, I don't agree with him, I'm not a Foucauldian, but he's not an idiot, one should read him. So Michel Foucault noticed in a very nice way somewhere how the key decision, power decision of a psychoanalyst is, what is a symptom that has to be analyzed as a clinical case, and what is just a normal state that doesn't deserve to be analyzed? You know, somebody comes to you, if you are an analyst, I am not, and you can guess why. Once a student, this is not a joke, unfortunately, once a student in New York told me, I would like to go to you in psychoanalysis. My idea was, you are really mad. Okay, but seriously, they told me that a very simple, stupid example. Half a century.
Give a basic info to who the Zizek guy is. Hold on. Zizek. Hot dogs. He's this guy. He's this guy. Should tell you all you need to know about him. Thanks, that's all the info I need. Yeah, I know.
Ago and more, a very traditional, stupid point, simplistic, with regard to promiscuity.
Okay,
if you were
not
a
right
man
now.
or a wife, promiscuous, sleeping around with others, it was considered pathological, something to be interpreted. You know, the idea was, what are you running from? Why this fear from stable relations, whatever? Did you have Oedipal problems, blah, blah. Today, they told me it's the opposite. I'm not joking. If you are faithful to your wife or husband, you'll get, oh my God, you have a traumatic fixation. This has to be
True.
things. So, you know what's the first lesson here? That it's not just a stupid game of words. Hysteria is historical. Forms of hysteria are always historically specified. In what sense? In the sense that hysteria is, my old Lacanian and at the same time Marxian thesis, hysteria is the elementary form of critique of ideology. Critique at ideology at its most elementary, subjective level. Because as you...
God damn it.
And seeing them there, I couldn't resist the worst racist remark. When I was returning the books to them, I told them, you know, now, I don't know which one is for whom, you know. You blacks like yellow guys, you look all the same. They embraced me and they told me, you can call me. You know, when they tell you this, it means we are really close. They instantly got this.
He was so real for this. Wait, he always sounds like that? Yeah, do you think he's faking for this clip? He always sounds like that.
You already, I think, indicated, incidentally, I will not go into it, but that's what nonetheless makes me some kind, at least I hope, some kind of a feminist, because hysteria is feminine. If you want this opposition in types of pathology, obsessional neurosis is more masculine. There are even among some clinicians that I know great debates of can there be even a feminine obsessional neurotic. But
my personal headcanon for this particular lecture, and in fact for a lot of lectures that he does, is that he'll do lectures, but only if he's personally guaranteed that nobody in the audience knows who he is, which is why they're all reacting like this. That's the precondition. Anytime he's going to show up to university, he has to make sure nobody here has any clue who he is. You've got so many. Look at this guy. He's like, yes. And the women are still reacting to the feminine hysteria line.
What I want to say is, what is hysteria at its most elementary? It's
women.
An undermining of interpellation. By interpellation, I mean this mechanism elaborated by Louis Althusser of ideology.
Excuse me, sir, this is a math class. Yeah, he'll sub in, but only for STEM classes, you know? You can be taking a comp sci course, and your professor will get COVID, and the Slavoj Zizek will show up, and he'll spend 42 minutes talking about the philosophy and etymology of male and female cable adapters, and then he'll leave.
Logical identity, like society or figures of authority are telling you who you are, your symbolic identity. You are my wife, you are professor, you are pupil, you are revolutionary, you are a communist, whatever, and you recognize yourself in it. But the basic hysterical question is, but why am I what you are saying that I am? This elementary doubt, it's much more interesting skepticism. It's not about reality. Are things really like...
All right, good. I got maybe a third of that. I'm so tired. What? Oh, yeah.
Okay. We can begin. Okay. Now, what you see here is, at least in summer or in the fall, one of the nicest views of Ljubljana. It looks like Paris, green leaves, etc. On both sides, nice old houses, nothing special. But you are wrong. This river here is the official geographical limit between Balkan and Middle Europa. So beware. On the other side, horror, Oriental despotism, women get beaten, get raped and like it. On this side, Europe, civilization, women get beaten and raped but don't like it. So, Balkan, Middle Europa, don't forget it.
So good. He's so incredible, dude. He is. He's a treasure.
It's one of those nice, gentle French movies where you have incest, which is portrayed as a nice secret between mother and son. I like this.
I feel like Slavoj Zizek is such a testament to the fact that you can be a weird guy, but as long as you lean into it, you're fine. The worst position you can be in is being like a totally straight-laced conformist and then have one weird trait, because they will roast you over a fire for that trait. He's the autistic guy who pulls bitches? Yeah, he is. Where's that picture of him at the wedding with the f***ing baddie, dude? What the f***? Jesus Christ. Look, I can't believe this is real. He looks homeless and like 3 times her age. Daughter or wife? I honestly don't know. I don't even know. This is him and his current wife. Who knows how many times he's been divorced. Okay, we can confirm that this is an adult. I have to assume. Absolutely wild. It looks like she picked him up outside the liquor store. Yeah, me and the bad bitch that I pulled by passing out drunk in front of the 7-Eleven until a very empathetic college freshman resuscitated me. Oh yeah, he doesn't hover hand. You know. You know he doesn't hover hand.
Military barracks, we were debating what men talk there, about sex, of course, all the time, about what you can do with a woman, women to you, and a word came to cunnilingus, no? And a friend soldier asked me, did you do it? I said, yes, what's the problem? If it's all washed nicely, why not? And all people from Lower Balkan, they were really absolute, disgusted. And then rumor spread. Even now I don't know how it happened. Then while we were talking this, an officer came and ordered me to carry something to the other part of the barracks with no phone connection. Still now it's missed. I went there, and when I delivered the package to the other officer, he said, "Are you the guy who is licking the cunts?"
Last one. Last one, then we're done.
Where is Balkan? This was a standard joke. Let me do the entire theory. So we have here Slovenia, and every Slovene will tell you this is the limit. Here, Balkan confusion starts. Okay, then let's go on. You ask a Croat, he will tell you it is clear. Croats are Middle Europa, Catholic, Belgrade, Serbia, Orthodox religion. We are in Balkan. You ask a Serb, he will tell you down here, either Sarajevo or Kosovo. They will tell you this is the true Balkan. Now, the irony is that if you go too much down, then all of a sudden Balkan is up there. No? In Greece, they will tell you, we Greeks, we are the origin of Europe. Up there, the dark Balkan mountains. If you ask an Austrian, he will tell you, Slovenia, Balkan begins, Slavic, primitives, and so on. If you ask a German, he will tell you, Austria, when they had an empire, was already too much mixed with all this. It's already Balkanized. French people will tell you, Germany, dark, fascist, kind of a Balkan, we are civilization. And finally, the British will tell you, all Europe is today a big Balkan with Brussels bureaucracy as a new Istanbul. We British are the only one.
Yeah, intra-European racism is so fucking good, dude. Holy shit. Looks like the person pictured there was one of his previous wives, married about 4 years. The picture of him with the girl a third of his age? Okay, gotcha. Okay, so they were married. Great, excellent. Please. Oh my god, we're never gonna move on. Oh my god. Holy shit.
I'm here.
Are you Spanish?
No, I'm Indian.
Unedited. He does have the Christian fit, yeah.
Christ is dead. You are the dirty perverted. Sorry,
No, it's good.
God, he's so fucking good. I was doing a student lecture. Somebody comes up, he asks where they're from. They say they're British, and he just laughs uncontrollably for 15 minutes until the student's time is up and he has to leave.